combination is a bit of both, and that's very, very common. A lot of women have, you know, quite dry cheeks, but the T-zone up here in the forehead, on the nose, on the chin, that can be quite oily, and that's a very common one. Also, in the summer month, your skin can get a little bit oilier and a little bit drier in the winter, particularly if you're exposed to a lot of air conditioning. It can really dry out your skin, heaters, all of that really does a lot to dry out your skin. So the first thing you need to determine is what your skin type is, and I've just given you 3 there. Once you've got that, you're going to think about the coverage that you want to achieve, whether that be the sheerest tint, just to cover some discoloration, or the full-blown coverage as well. So what are the different types of foundation that suit these skin types? Well, sheer is extremely light coverage. All it basically does is even out the skin tone and maybe some minor imperfections. This is a really good one if your skin is generally pretty good and you don't have a lot of skin problems. If you've just got minor patches of discoloration, you might be able to get away with using a little bit of concealer and just using a very sheer tint to cover up the rest. Dewy foundations tend to be creamier or liquid, and they add hydration and radiance to the skin and quite a youthful finish. These are my favorite. They have some luminosity and have a fairly natural coverage as well, and they're very, very popular with dry skin as well. Satin foundation, well, you know, I hear about this term. It's a cross between a matte foundation and a dewy, and this is a good for a combination skin. And I'll give you some examples of that later on. And matte and full coverage, the matte, basically they have no shine and they dry very flat. This is perfect for those that have really oily and oily skin, and it does cover imperfections quite fully. So if you've got sometimes acne and quite oily patches and you struggle wearing foundation that wears throughout the day, matte is the way to go. Okay, so what suits what? Oily skin, you're better off with the fuller coverage to minimize the pores. You're not going to go a dewy foundation on an oily skin. You will just look like a shiny hot mess, and I've seen this before. Dewy foundations are very much suited to the drier skins because they add that hydration. And some of the things to think about when applying. There's lots of things to think about, but the first rule of thumb is what you're trying to always achieve in any foundation coverage is achieving the desired coverage with the least amount of product. You don't want really heavy cakey look and just keep piling it on to get that desired finish. You just want to use the least amount available. You want to use the least amount of product. So what do you think, what are the things that you need to think about when applying? Well, the first thing is a primer. And a lot of people tell me, oh, do you really need a primer? It seems like an unnecessary step, and yeah, and it absolutely can be. The first thing you need to think about is a primer. And why is this important? Because for some ladies, it does seem like an unnecessary step, but it is important because it helps ensure that the foundation is going to wear evenly on your skin throughout the day. Some areas might be oilier than others. Example, the T-zone and the cheeks might be a bit drier. A primer helps even all of that so it wears evenly throughout the day. So what are my favorite primers? My favorite primers are these ones. This is the Embryolisse Lait Concentrate. This is the hydration one. So this is what I use for dry skin, and the HydraMat is what I use for oily skin. Why am I recommending these? I use these on all my clients. You can buy them at Chemist Warehouse, the bigger Chemist Warehouse stores, not the smaller ones. And a little goes a long way, and they are really, really good products. So for that one, I'd use mainly around the face, cheeks, and if the lady's got, you know, an oily T-zone, I might use that here. So they're the ones that I would recommend. The next thing you need to think about is color matching. So when you color match, you need to think about the face, the neck, and the chest, because they can be all different colors depending on how exposed your face is to the sun. Some women expose their faces to the sun, they might be browner and hardly have any color on their chest. So really what you're looking for is one that's going to blend in with all of that. And what you're looking at is something that's, when you put it on, it's going to disappear into your skin. If it's got a big pigment or very strong pigment, it's darker, lighter, that's when you blend it out, it's going to look too pale or too dark, depending as the case may be. So what you're looking is something that's going to disappear into the skin. And what I would recommend is when you're trying on foundations, don't just look at them in store. Absolutely go home, take a sample if you can. Get those little pots from Daiso. They're $1 and you can just get the assistant to squeeze you some, take it home, see how it wears before you actually invest in it, because some of these products can be really expensive, and so you want to make sure that the color's right. So that's the color you're looking for, as much of a blend that's going to disappear into your skin, and it's going to match as much with your neck and your chest as well as your face. Okay. So what are my favorites? Oh God, there's got so many. So I will show you some. On the weekends when I want the no makeup look. If I want the no makeup look, this is the one I turn to. It's the Mecca Cosmetica Weekend Skin. This is beautiful. It's just got the very, very sheerest tint of color, and it just blends out the imperfections. That's my go-to. But I kind of wouldn't use that for every day. It's really, this is the lightest that I've come across, and I absolutely love it. I'm using the color Vanilla, I think, which is the one of the light to medium shades. The other one that's a good one is the Nars. You would have seen, this is the Tinted Moisturizer again, but this has got a lot more color. I use this as a foundation. It's also a really good one. This has got a lot of hydration and a bit of glow in it. I will also use this quite regularly. And the ones that for full coverage, I mean, there's lots and lots of different types. Full coverage includes the Estee Lauder Double Wear. That's one of the key ones. It's the gold standard, as they say. And the Maybelline Superstay is also really, really nice for full coverage matte foundations. And Dewy, well, look, you know, there's lots of different types of liquid ones. The Georgio Armani Luminous Silk, Morph make a couple of them, Maybelline Fit Me. They're all really, really nice dewy foundations. In terms of satin, and I like the L'Oreal True Match, which is also has a really beautiful range of colors. So what do you have to think about in terms of applying it? Well, there's a couple of tricks. Do you use a brush? I definitely use a brush on clients, but often I warm it in with my fingers and just spread it all over the face, and I might just buff with a brush to even it out. That's my go-to trick for applying foundation. And then if you've got your dark circles, then put your dark circle concealer and tap it out under your eye and anywhere else where you've got some discoloration around that. So that is my whirlwind summary of Foundations 101. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please share and like this with someone that you think might enjoy it. And next time I have lots of different other topics to discuss. Pop down in the comments what you'd like me to talk about. Tell me what your favorite foundations are, and I'll see you next time. See you later. Thanks.